to. Yes. 15 minutes past the hour, we will kick off. So in a minute's time. Thanks everyone for joining. And again, apologies for the technical issues. It's good. Please, if you don't mind, would you mind sharing the link in your relevant TitanX group? And I think that would help, of course, get the message out to everyone and let them know we are here. Okay, let's kick off. Thanks again, everyone, for joining. And this is our 62nd episode of Build on TitanX /X28. And we're still going strong. Okay, well, today's session would be dedicated to really discussing, issues that have come up over the course of kind of the week, and I'm sure that everyone expects us to address here. So we wouldn't be, we wouldn't be going through the stats because, of course, the markets have been boring, a bit quiet, to put it mildly. And of course, if anybody wants to check the TitanX stats, you could feel free, absolutely, to visit the TitanX stats page. But here, I would say we're going to spend the next hour discussing what has become a major topic of a discussion here within the TitanX space. And it's the TitanX ethos. It's is there any room for a gray? Is there any room for a gray area within this? And of course, more importantly, what are the advantages of the TitanX ethos? And that is really the debate that I'd really encourage us to have here. I think crypto graphics and Dude had a really nice discussion, information during that exchange that I found very valuable. And I think if we without really attacking anybody here, just kind of we focus on what the facts are. We focus on what we can do better, and hopefully, this will make us stronger as a community. That is it. Make us stronger as a community, and we can avoid instances that will kind of lead to unnecessary splits in the community. So I think on that note, folks, the floor is open. The floor is open. I think I will pause now and say, please, anyone who wants to kick off, please feel free. And, the floor is yours. James, I see you. Morpheus, cryptographics. Mike, I think you've all been involved in the discussions over the last week, and please don't feel don't self-censor yourself. Is really what is a point I would like to make here. People need to be able to speak freely. And I hope that we take that seriously. But honestly, speak freely. Yeah.
I think it's a great way. Can everybody hear me? I got my sound system here all working. Hopefully there's no echoes.
Yes, can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, good. Yeah. You know what? That was a really good intro, Plan A. And I think you and Mike Dean outdo yourself, honestly, on these spaces. I joined a couple spaces, during this week. They were kind of informal ones, and the tone of those was, let's speak freely. Let's not record. Let's really say anything we want, so nobody can come back and say, oh, he or she said that. I mean, there's really not much of that, I don't think, anyways. But these are the more formal ones, and that's one thing that I said. The week, we know what's coming on the weekly. We know the Plan A is going to be here. We know Mike Dean's going to be here. We know that we're going to follow a bit of a structure. But there's been a couple that have been just popped up that, hey, 3 people, 5 people, 25, 30 people. One of them had 220 people in. So, yeah. I would say the tone should be speak freely. Don't be afraid to speak your mind. There are no wrong opinions. This community has grown and gotten to be quite sophisticated over, what are we on, day 505, 506? My goodness. So without talking about, I know we're following the protocol or following where the community speaks first. And I really encourage the community, raise your hand. Say what's on your mind. I'll get back on mute.
Thanks, James. Thanks for that. The floor is open, everyone. Please do come up and share what's on your mind. Yes, Morpheus.
What up, everybody? Yeah, interesting week, that's for sure. A lot of information back and forth. I think it was a good wake-up call. We can all argue about how it was dealt with or how it should be dealt with. I don't really think that's the focus point. I think we should focus on how do we deal with it afterwards. Everything that I saw from the people that were involved were direct and focused, and everything was done to make sure that nothing got more out of hand than it was already at that point. I think the biggest thing that I saw in this was not the issue itself, but a lot of people just got a wake-up call about more self-reflection than the issue what was outside. Because normally when these kind of things arises, it's always your own insecurity that you project onto others. So it's easy for a lot of people that haven't been around for I don't know how long to jump in onto drama to make themselves relevant again, and taking a lot of things out of proportions. That's how I saw it. And literally ghosting and throwing people under the bus just by a sort of affiliation of proxy. If we already go to that level of scrutiny, then there's not a lot of integrity that I saw in the beginning, unfortunately. And there's a handful of people that are constantly active on Twitter, trying to get everybody into the right mood, trying to get everything going. And now I see most of these people just backing down just because they don't want to engage with any other drama anymore. So I think the biggest result out of this is that the things that we actually had going for us now all of a sudden don't exist anymore. So I get that the intentions were great. I get that it's all about information and it's all about discussing it and getting to the bottom of it. But the way people out of their own state of mind jumped onto this actually hurt the ones that were actually doing a lot of good in this community. That's how I see it.
Yeah. First of all, hello everybody. I think this last week and a bit has been really eye-opening, and I think to me, honestly, it's clear as day. I mean, when you look at when you follow on-chain evidence, when you follow everything that's actually happened, when you look at what people have told you they're doing, and it all adds up to, either lies or malice. You can clearly see that it's really nice in theory to have this idea of gray area, but gray area is, and it's neither good nor bad to have gray area. There is a specific time and place. Like if we look at liberal mindset versus conservative mindset, I think this is a really easy way to paint this. Extreme conservative mindsets are based in survival, right? Extreme liberal mindsets are based in freedom and abundance, right? If you go to either of the extremes, when you're more in the middle, you are out of context. You're not going to basically have, you're going to be out of touch. So we have to ask, okay, if you have someone coming into an extreme survival environment, right, where it's basically, dog eat dog, and someone's like freedom, love, rock and roll, and then they get eaten alive. Well, I mean, they were foolish, right? And so we have to ask, okay, if we think about our ecosystem as, where are we on our journey? We're building a foundation, right? We haven't built infrastructure. We haven't built a community. We haven't built the level of stability that compares with larger communities that can allow for expansion without, potentially having harm on the core infrastructure that we're still developing, right? Like for someone to come and have a total of 50K ETH pool with something in this ecosystem, that's 10% of what's backing TitanX and the whole ecosystem. That's significant. And so that can do significant harm. And so what I'm saying here is I think this has become really, really plainly obvious to me that in time, within the right context, gray area and expansion makes sense. But when we're still fragile, so to speak, we're still growing, there's still growing pains. Things need to be black and white. Things need to be clear. And it doesn't matter what those are, but it matters that we define them. And so I really feel as though as we move forward here, having a set of standards that are within what we all agree on and are not need to be clearly defined until a point where we have such stability where it no longer really matters, where things that come in don't have major impact on the community, don't have major impact on the users, and it is what it is. We become a thriving blockchain on a blockchain, so to speak. So I'll put that out there, and I'm curious what others think. But that's, to me, it seems black and white right now, very black and white.
Thanks, Cryptographics. I think, yeah, you're right. I mean, the opinions that have been expressed here, and I think there's no right and wrong. I think James is absolutely right, and we need to speak freely. If only to know where the markers are, and to do better in the future. So, Steve, what do you have for us?
Good to see you guys. I'm actually in Asia right now, so it's late. I haven't been on these streams for a while. I've been traveling, but yeah, I really appreciate Cryptographics' thoughts, great thoughts there, and Baby Dragon. That was speak freely. That's really important. So a couple of thoughts, and I've been thinking a lot this week about the events that took place. More of a philosophical level. I've been writing some posts, and I'm just taking part in the conversation on Twitter. And regarding the ethos, a couple of thoughts that I want to throw out there, and then get feedback from what you guys hear. First thing is, it's like there's a distinction between in tokenomics, the ethical ethos and the tokenomic ethos. So the ethical ethos is like this standard, it's a must-have, it's fair launch, it's audited, it's all crypto, as Oribal was just saying just a few minutes ago, as I was talking to him, should be adopted. It's non-negotiable. But this tokenomic ethos is interesting because there's certain things in it which are difficult to quantify. I just wrote a post and I suggested 3 things which is hard to quantify. The first thing was there's a lot of community crossover. I mean, Cryptographics is massive in Pulse Chain. He's big here, you know, as an influencer, but there's people who just are normal people, just users who dabble in all sorts of different chains. Different allocations, they don't just hold TitanX. So, you know, it's not that you launch something that requires ETH and they need to sell their TitanX. They could sell their Solana. I'm sure they have multiple coins. I don't know that there's many, like TitanX Maxis, maybe. I'm not sure if there's many. But the third thing, this is the big one, it's the leveraged value drain. And so in a leveraged value drain, it will be, imagine this, TitanX's input, and I really want to get some thoughts on this, because TitanX's input, and you know, for the last, you know, this has been an important thing in TitanX, that TitanX input is TitanX, but you can, you know, when you think, is that good for TitanX or bad for TitanX? Well, it's good in the sense that it provides utility for TitanX and availability of using your coins in a certain ways, which is great, more the merrier. But a leverage value drain is you use TitanX, you mint coin B. Coin B does 100x. The ratio between coin B and TitanX goes up dramatically. That the person sells into TitanX and sells into ETH. So is that good for TitanX or bad? Well, that's an example of a leverage value drain, and that can happen with any coin which uses TitanX as input. The attention is good, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't be using TitanX. I'm just saying that is a possibility of something that's impossible to quantify whether a protocol is good or bad. So you know, the last thought to throw out in this conversation is you can have a different currency as input in a utility protocol, which then burns TitanX. So which is better, a leverage value drain or something which used TitanX as input? Sorry, use a different coin as input, but it's a utility which burns TitanX. So there's 2 things to think about. A more of a way that TitanX is used to enter a protocol in a gamified manner. Vault, you know, Matrix Hyper, but I think it was ETH, but Matrix. I'm just trying to think some more protocols. Element 280. Or you have a utility protocol which burns TitanX on the back end. So, yeah, there's some thoughts. I hope it's clear. It's late here, so my mind isn't working so clearly, but there's some thoughts to throw out. Love some feedback. Yeah, I'm taking part in the conversation because it's just interesting to discuss these things. So thank you, guys.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks a lot. Cheers. Thank you for joining, and thank you for the the spaces you hosted during the week. I'm also in Asia, like James and Steve, and I think a couple of them were about sort of. I was able to join one, but I think they are sort of about 2 a.m. my time, and I wasn't able to join the second one. But I just wanted to say thank you for encouraging the conversation and all that you've done to steer the discussion in the right way. I'd say cryptographics. Yes. Let's hear you, and then we'll go back to Chiz. We'll go to Chiz and get his view on this.
Yeah, I just want to respond to some of the stuff that Steve's saying. Like, I agree with the idea of like where or looking into where the idea or where things can expand, and figuring out the technical side of tokenomics and what we can do to innovate and really like you said, drive more value into the system for longevity, for expansion of community, for user adoption, and all that. And I wanted to just touch on what you were saying about the value drain side of things. Like, I mean, it's a bit of an unfair comparison in my opinion, just because if we're saying something goes on TitanX and it does a 100x, right? Let's think about what that means. If something on TitanX does a 100x, that's a process. That's not a daily thing. That takes time. That takes eyeballs seeing it. And if something's going to do a 100x, that's likely going to catch a lot of attention and also going to bring a lot of other people in. So there's something to be said for that. And if we're looking at the frame that you placed on the end of it, which is if someone comes in and then they sell down the price chart and extract the value, if someone got 100x and our liquidity is, or it's not even about liquidity, it's more like if someone has gotten 100x, the liquidity is probably large enough where they can sell a decent amount and not drain everything in the liquidity pool. There's also other holders that potentially could sell, and the possibility that one large player, it's always possible, but there's an assumption there that this player that gets in early and gets 100x is massive and has the ability to just absolutely drain the entire pool, and not have buyers who are still coming in, right? Like there's a few assumptions in there, and so I think there's valid arguments for both, and I think I really do feel like there are important reasons for not expanding. Like think about it like this, right? If Pulse Chain or Ethereum or Solana or any other blockchain started trying to expand its liquidity to have way more liquidity with another chain, right? That's going to impact what the price and the performance of Solana or Ethereum or Pulse Chain or whatever else is paired with other things, right? If people are literally selling their Solana for ETH because they want to get into this new hot thing, and people are wanting to expand liquidity, it's the same thing. We are a blockchain on a blockchain. And so we have the unfortunate ease of access of ETH in terms of why this conversation is so relevant. But I think we have to really consider that whole premise and how if we do expand because we're a blockchain on a blockchain, we do run the risk if we go too soon of having people, protocols, really negatively affecting the core infrastructure that we're trying to build right now.
Great. Steve, do you have a response to that?
Oh, thanks for that. Yeah, I just want to say, I just wanted to respond. I 100% agree with everything Steve just said. And I think it gave an example to my point that you can't quantify what's going to happen. But that's the only point I was trying to make. You can't quantify what's going to happen. A coin does, and that's what I was thinking of Volt, to be honest with you guys. So I was using Volt as I didn't want to use anyone else's. I just used myself. I was just talking about Volt. So it definitely did good with evangelism, eyes on the community. But I think the point I was trying to make is it's hard to quantify how much good a protocol is going to do. It's because there's so many things. So that being the case, there should be freedom in tokenomic ethos for innovation to take place, because we can't quantify what's going to happen. But when it comes to ethical ethos, it's a non-negotiable. So I was really just wanted, my response is I just wanted to, Steve, kind of like, I totally agree with what you said, but I was only saying what I said to show it was hard to quantify. But I appreciate it, man.
I'll just say real quick, I appreciate you too, Steve. And I appreciate this conversation. I'll make this quick. I was just going to say, I think, we just have to define like what as founders, as people that are leaders, whoever we are that are leaders in this community, I think we just need to define what we will and will not support, whatever that looks like. If that's expanding to other pools that have a certain setup, having certain utility. But I think, as long as we define what that is and what is not harmful, I think that is what's needed. So I agree with you. I think it just needs to be defined and have logic and have a basis in reality, and be definitive. And whatever that looks like, I think is fair.
Okay. Great debate. And may it continue. Cheers. Over to you.
Yeah, thanks. Few things. I don't do stuff unless I'm having fun doing it, honestly. So it's just how I am by nature. Like if I'm having fun doing something, I'll keep doing more of it, right? And so the only reason why I'm still part of this conversation is because I'm having fun doing it in a strange way. But I have very little patience for a few things. And I'm going to be brutally honest here because people's reputations and livelihoods and investments of time, money, and personal and collective wealth are at issue. So I'm not fucking around here. Okay. So a few things. Yes, Steve is right that there are two parts of this, but there are probably more. The first is an ethics as an ethics lawyer and as someone who has worked in wartime and peacetime, and like ethics is a deep and conflicted non-science. Okay. And so let's keep it simple. This isn't about ethics. It's really not, because everyone disagrees on what is ethical and what is not ethical behavior. And so that is a cesspool of now I'm not saying that to pull it apart and to say there's something about ethics, but let's be very clear here. And this is when Jake came out, Jake comes out, Jake listens and he's paying attention. I'm not saying he's always right, but I listen to him because he's the guy who built this baby that I have invested a lot of time and energy in. And what he said was, and I hadn't heard from him, and I don't really expect to hear from him at this point, but he basically said, at least be honest. And then I'm like, oh, so at least in Jake's judgment, there's a failure of honesty here. And then I started to hearing allegations of lies. And as a mediator in my life, I know about lies and truth. And again, one person's allegation of a lie is typically another person's something else, okay? So, but in this case, it became very clear to me when Ouroboros, who in my experience is the best a non-communicator I've ever experienced, honestly, because somehow he, she, they, whoever you are, have has been a hugely consistent communicator. And so when Ouroboros, laid out the facts, these are facts, okay? And I took the time because I've been listening. And when Jake said, at least be honest, and then I started hearing rumors of lies and, and rumors of dishonesty. I'm not good with rumors and innuendo. I don't deal with it well because I know that they need to be squashed by light and by facts. And so when Ouroboros delivered some facts and I started paying attention, I was like, holy shit. Okay, I get it now. There were lies and there were injustices done, for sure. Because I followed the trail and I was like, oh, I get it. So, but maturity is being able to hold two realities at the same time, and maybe more than two. Okay? And so I think Jake was right to call out dishonesty. I think that Ouroboros I owe a debt to in a constructive way, because for the first time somebody laid out the facts in a blockchain centric way that I can follow and that I could go check for myself and not rely on the fucking echo chamber that X is. Okay, so I went and checked. I did my due diligence, and I'm not going to judge any individual for what he, she, or they do. That's not how I am. But so the thing is that yes, there were lies. I suspect people were getting paid off. Okay. I don't know if that's ethical or not. I don't know. I would expect someone to get paid for their work. So I have no problem for people getting paid. Okay. But I'm not okay with lies. So that's the first thing. So ethics, let's simplify it. This is about honesty and being able to trust a man or a woman's word, which is why I don't need to hear a voice in order to trust the word. Word can be printed. It can be in smart contracts. In Ouroboros, I've never heard his voice, but I trust his word because I've been in communication with him for months. Consistent communication is how we build trust. So lies are not okay. And then the flip side is I'm going to use Axiom, if I may. And I'm sorry if I, call you out, but your message here is the one that, in my opinion, needs to be held, along with this idea that I'm not okay with being lied to, and I'm pretty sure I was lied to, okay? This was not a pure community takeover. If it was, then show me the facts, right? Show me alternative facts that I could follow on chain, and I'll believe the alternative. But Axiom's message in the X echo chamber of insanity, and by the way, my only recommendation to the builder community is get off of X and get off of Telegram and get off of all of the public spaces until the builders are fully aligned. Do whatever you have to do to work it out in private so that as a builder community, you guys aren't beating each other up in public, which is what's happening now. And it's part of the imbalance in this community. And Axiom's message is, do it in a good way. Don't kill the talent. Don't kill the energy. Now, we've got to be able to hold both of these realities at the same time in order to be a thriving network. We have to be able to say, all right, Jake is right, and Ouroboros is right, unless there's no forum to dialogue about the gray area. And I suspect there isn't. And so if people think there's a gray area, then set up a private frickin' dialogue and talk about it as adults. Otherwise there is no gray area around lies and truths on the blockchain. Okay. It's the one thing we have to rely on. So, but going back to Axiom's message is don't kill the talent. Don't kill the vibe. Let's do it right. Okay? And so with that, I'm going to say, and the token economic dialogue is great. I would say set up a container where all of the token economic geniuses that we have here, like figure out how to protect the baby and innovate at the same time. I know we can do both. And let me give you an example and then I'll shut up. Part of the reason, like I've been exploring Base and Sonic, okay, partially because Dude and James decided that they were going to go to Base first with X28 and Uranus. And I'm like, all right, let me go explore. Okay. And like what I think I found is one thing on Base. And then I went to Sonic because I've been following Andre Cronike for many years. Okay. And success in crypto happens over multiple cycles. This morning, I started to hear some dialogue about how X28 needed to be on a peg with TitanX. And I'm like, no, it doesn't need to be on a peg. It's fresh. It's new. Let's see how X28 does omni-chain. Let's see how X28 can be like a valuable cornerstone asset, first on Base and then hopefully on Sonic. Okay. So like the idea here is we have to innovate. There's so much competition in the space. If we don't have like a value proposition that is brainless for people to adopt, they'll tell us to go fuck ourselves. Pardon the Bronx language. That's how the world is. And right now, that's what's happening. So in my mind, like we need to humble ourselves as a community. We need to, and I'm going to speak to myself, for myself here. I need to humble myself. And which is why I took off the stupid fucking green circle. It's a marketing gimmick. Okay. And I'm doing it intentionally. I'm not leaving my bags, but I'm going and doing what I do well. I've already made allies on Sonic and Base. Strong allies, artists. Okay. So if you look to go do partnerships, okay, like it's one thing to show up on a raid. Oh, we've got 100 green circles. Cool. Well, you know what? That's not how you land in a new land. It's like being an immigrant. Anybody that's ever been an immigrant, we have to learn how we adapt to new cultures. So I've got relationships now on Sonic at a pretty high level, like really high, only cause I've been following these people for a long time and I've been in dialogue with them for a long time. And I now am peering with them. I'm an artist. I'm making friends with artists on Sonic. Why? Because there's good artists on Sonic. Because I see what they're doing. And same thing with Base. And so it's time we humble ourselves. It's time we get our shit together. The builders, yes. Builders, you guys, and it's all guys, and it's part of the imbalance in this ecosystem. It's part of the imbalance. It's not bad. It just is. And once the guy builder brigade like really unifies and creates a true incubator, like then we know that we've got something to spread. Okay. When we have a core asset like TitanX and X28, that's what we ride. Okay, it's the only thing. When I am over in Sonic, I can't, like, the only thing I have to talk about over there is X28. That's it. And I'm already starting to think, all right, where does X28, I see it now, actually. I don't see it right now on base. I'll be honest with you. I don't see it yet, mostly because base is way harder to navigate because it's, strangely enough, way more decentralized. Like Sonic is way more centralized in how they operate and how they, now it's a decentralized network, but how they lead is centralized. And there's a central strategy and central strategists, which is why I get it. I see exactly how Ouroboros, and it's not even Ouroboros, I see how USDX fits in there. I see how X28 fits in there. Those are the two things that I can see, okay? I don't see it on base. I see Uranus on base because I think you guys have done really nice to like land there. And I think that there's a lot of opportunity to build around what you guys have done there. But I don't see X28 on base yet because like there's no freaking indigenous DeFi gravitas on base that I can see. There's big players, but there's no like interest in indigenous DeFi. It's all meme culture. And so, which is why, in my opinion, I think that MemeFi could be successful on base, maybe. But what I see is that the reason why I'm focused on Sonic is because I see very clearly the value proposition of X28 and deflationary DeFi and USDX and a real DeFi ecosystem. I see it on Sonic. And with that, I'll shut up.
Thanks, Chiz. I think you covered a lot of ground there, and I think we can, taking the conversation forward, we can unpack a bit of what you have, you've covered. But definitely, thanks again. The floor is still open for anyone who wants to add to what has been discussed here already, or if you want to open up a whole new path to this discussion, please do feel free. Yes, of course. One World Chain. Over to you.
Yeah, Plan A, thanks. Hear me okay?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yeah, appreciate the words, Chiz. As usual, showing just good character and wisdom, I think, and a lot of what you say. Wanted to echo some of the comments about Super Shadow at Ouroboros. It's just something I've observed for months now, the manner in which he communicates to his community. And, he asks questions to us. He listens. He's present. He's innovating. He's working hard every day. He wants to expand, beyond TitanX and bring more rewards to ORX holders, and just always expanding the scope, and he's kind of like presenting a character that I think all the founders in the TitanX ecosystem should seriously watch and learn from and emulate, because it's just something I don't see with like almost anyone else. Like there's very few that kind of show that effort. Just the day-to-day, get up every day and work, and stick to your initial, I guess, narratives and marketing and everything you set out to do in the beginning. A few of those people, like, excuse me, like Cryptographics, I've had a few chats with him. Like I wish Taurus was built like 8 months ago, just because I think you're one of the guys that has that character and that caring and the true desire, to make the project work, like every single day, not once a month to check in. It's just every day it's there, you see it. And it's just, as a user, that's kind of some of the disappointment I see with a lot of the projects, it's like, hey, like, where are these guys? You know, it's like, yeah, the market's down, but does that just mean, you know, step away for a few months and just not do anything? And, you know, it's when I see that from a founder or project, it's like, I know I'm not going to, how can I get behind that? How can I refer a friend to go jump in this thing where it's such a polar opposite of an experience when, you know, you go and kind of interact in the forums with Ouroboros? It's like ORX. I mean, that's what I'm feeling very confident about because of that character, because of that leadership. People don't really whine and complain about the price of ORX. And I see people have a lot of problems about the price in other projects because there's no presence and efforts with the founders. I think that's a big difference when you look at, I guess, the behavior of the community and the reaction, you know. And so it's really important. Like, I think that's a driving factor in terms of where we're going. I think most projects should try and work and align with Ouroboros more. I think because of that. Yeah, so those are my, I guess, initial thoughts right now. Thanks.
Thanks, One World. Yeah, those observations are definitely shared. And the idea here, of course, is that we get to, if at all possible, we get to a consensus that can drive the ecosystem forward. I see Marco. Mark, I'm going to have to invite you to share some words with us. So I've sent you an invite. Please accept. So in the meantime, yes, I'll carry on with what I was saying. Yes, so One World, your observations are definitely shared, and hopefully we can arrive at some sort of consensus going forward. And I think the basic question here really is there such a thing as a community drainer or not? And when I say community drainer, I mean the liquidity pool drainer or not in the construct that is TitanX. And if there is, then I think it goes without saying that as a community, that we don't do anything to cause harm to the community. And that was why, for me, really, it did come as a surprise, because our titans of LP folks who are leaders in this community and have for the longest while promoted, and educated the community on all matters LP, that it really came as a big surprise that that this basic question didn't quite maybe didn't occur to them, and if it did, that they didn't arrive at the right conclusion, or the conclusion that seems to be generally shared. I definitely would have expected some discussions before lunch in a protocol or a project like they launched. And the failure to have that discussion, the failure to have the protocol listed on TitanX Hub, Mike Dean's TitanX Hub, for me, it just raises questions which could have easily have been avoided. That's the point. It could have easily been avoided if they had listed on TitanX Hub, which is for free. All they would have had to answer would have been questions that we are now addressing. And they would have found out at that point, if they had just simply had that exchange, that this would be a concern. I think avoiding that, and not all projects need to be built on TitanX, and therefore not all projects need to be listed on TitanX Hub. But if you choose to market your protocol or your project to the TitanX community, then of course it begs the question whether you fit within the ethos. And I think that sort of reasoning would have helped a great deal and avoided all the aggro that has been experienced over the last few days. So yes, great. Morpheus, yes, over to you.
Yeah, I talked about this with Steve that we did in the first phase. It's easy to put trust in people that have been around for so long and pretty much displayed all that trust. So it's easy to jump onto the bandwagon. At the end of the day, that is what I said in the space as well. At the end of the day, it's my own neglect of looking into it and see where it actually stands. We live on Twitter, and the more engagement you see from trusted people around you, the more solidified it gets. So does that mean we don't have to do our due diligence? No. Do I take responsibility for the fact that I didn't do it and that I went on the bandwagon just to keep the hype going? Sure. It is perfectly fine. My biggest problem was more the fact that so many people, and I'm not talking about the big guys, because we all know what their role is. I'm talking about the immense amount of people that literally came out of the woodworks, jumped on the drama, and then try to put themselves into a good light just by bashing others. And that is something I just don't really align with. We all can make mistakes. We all can own them. We can all have a proper discussion like adults. We don't have to do in 16-year-old drama just to solidify yourself in a group. It's just, and I've seen a lot of people completely being ghosted just because they liked a tweet. I mean, that's a level that is not healthy for nobody. That's my opinion.
Great, thanks, Morpheus. Yes, and that is something we need to be aware of, that these sort of cracks will be exploited, or these sort of, for want of a better word, splits will be exploited if we allow them to be exploited. I think the good thing about the community, our community here, is that the communication level at the community level is quite high, and therefore, Morpheus, you did great when this was still, the discontent and was still growing and bubbling up. You fired up a spaces, and people hopped on, and a good discussion transpired. Now that is what we need to do. That's what a community does, and that is really what demonstrates a strong community. So rather than have this being all innuendos and rumors, as Chiz actually alluded to earlier, and have it at that level, which is very damaging. The sort of innuendos, gossip, and that low level type behavior, that's really very damaging. It damages reputations, and it simply spreads fear. I think what irrespective of what has happened, I think as a community, I think what we've managed to do is to bring things out in the open, and help reinforce confidence in the ecosystem. And I think that's what gives us really a good chance at success. And we'll continue to do this. So good. On that note, thanks, Morpheus, again. Let me move on to Desk, and after you, P.
Yes. I just want to go back to what she's said so we don't forget. I know he said a lot and a lot of meaningful stuff that we all should, replay this space to catch everything. He had said that it would be good if before we start talking about project, let all the people that know about, know how, tokenomics, like founders, let them look into that project and agree that is good for, the TitanX, that it follows the ethos before people start marketing it. There was a place, something like that, he said, and I picked up that. And all these dramas that are going through, I saw everything on X, but I do not interact with any protocol that is not listed on titanexhub.com. I don't touch it because if it was following the ethos, it would be there. So if anybody who lost money on this, I'm sorry, but the writing was on the wall there. So if we can agree to talk with the founders, let those who know about tokenomics look into project tokenomics and agree that it follows the ethos and put it on TitanX Hub before the TitanX community, those who market stuff, start talking about it. It would be very helpful. And she's made that point somewhere, and I picked up that. Thanks.
Thanks, Desk. Absolutely. I think if it's listed on TitanX Hub, then you could be rest assured that it meets with the requirements of the ethos. If it isn't there, then I think the assumption should be that it doesn't. Again, no one is saying that our builders cannot build protocols outside the TitanX ethos. No, that is not what's being said. But there's a manner and way to go about it. You don't drain and cause damage. You don't drain the TitanX LP or ecosystem LP, and you certainly don't do damage to the community. If you're able to go out and build a community out there around your protocol, that's great, of course. And I hope that we've discussed this over and over again over the course of the last 18 months. And for me, I'm quite surprised that we're having to go over this again to this extent. And yes, Morpheus, again, you hit the right note. I take responsibility on this. I think you can't assume that every player is going to play according to the same rules, and to assume that because certain people are leaders of thought in the community, that they necessarily will play according to the rules is, yes, I think there is some responsibility there that goes to us as community members. I didn't participate in this project, but it was raised here. I remember that at some point, not in detail, but it was definitely raised, during one of our spaces, definitely mentioned. So yes, I don't have all the answers. That's what I was say. I don't know how we can prevent this from happening again. I think, and I'll finish up with this. I'll just finish up with this. But I think Ouroboros mentioned that's a shadow, a super shadow, mentioned just an idea out there, probably being able to codify or automate the TitanX ethos, whether that could be done through a DEX or whatever it is, but done in such a way that, when protocols launch, that they launch on the basis of a certain, certain parameters, and who knows? I don't know, but I think it probably is a good time to sort of, start sort of brainstorming on that and see whether the TitanX ethos could be codified in such a way that even as like you have a launch pad that is based on the TitanX ethos, that would be open to not just TitanX community, but even beyond that. Anyway, I'm going to pause there. Yes, let me say cryptographics and then Morpheus.
Yeah, thanks. And first of all, I just want to say I'm really appreciating this dialogue because I think this is 100% needed right now. This really shows, like, if we go back and look at, one of the core elements of what was established as the original build on TitanX, ethos, it stems on meritocracy. What does it mean to have merit? Your actions, not your words, show what you're building, what you're about, whether you do or don't align with what is going on. And, while if we reflect on this last incident where there were lies, there was deception, there was literally telling you how they're going to prevent you from selling and framing it as a good thing. That's not merit. That's words, right? People can easily be deceived with words. So I think what's very, very important is understanding that, what Mike Dean's built in terms of TitanX Hub is part of the merit. If you put up a product that meets all the requirements, if you as a founder meet all the requirements, you then step up to the plate and you have merit, right? And then if your project delivers exactly as it's supposed to, has merit. That's why everyone here is talking so highly of Super Shadowy, and as we should. He's proven himself time and time again to lift way above that benchmark for what it takes to be in a meritocracy, like showing up every day, building quality products, right? Being consistent, showing open-mindedness. And I think I just wanted to put this out there that, we need to really consider that words are real easy to say. And it's really easy for people to get caught up in words. But like, I think it was World Change, that's one of you guys were saying, it's like, we being quick to call things out or quick to, be decisive. It's important to say, hey, there's something going on here. But I think it's even more important to be pragmatic about it and rely on the facts for those of us who are on the front line, and others rely on our opinions to maintain that meritocracy.
Great. Thanks, Cryptographics. Yes, P, I think we'll just bear with me. Let's go to Morpheus and we'll come to P.
Yeah, I wanted to, you said, how can we resolve this or make sure it doesn't happen? I have a pretty big community around me, not only from this, but from previous as well. During this whole thing, I only got DMs from one person to notify me that something is wrong, that something is up. And it took me too long to realize how significant that actually is. If something is truly not going the way it should be going, and so many people obviously knew that something was up, why weren't the DMs flooding about that shit? Marco was the only person that DM'd me to say, dude, there's something not going correctly here. You might want to look into it. That's scary. If we only can raise our voices once the drama is already there, why not prevent it? So we are our own support system. So we can all preach it when we're all here, but why don't we support the ones when they are heading into a mistake or heading into a different road? Why are we not our own support system for everybody?
Well said. I think I'll come back to that, but I have my thoughts on that. But let's go to P.
Hey guys, I'll keep it. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Awesome. I'll keep it short and sweet as it relates to this topic. Reason I joined TitanX is not to chase memes. We are a DeFi community that has innovation that hasn't been seen before in DeFi. There are a lot of tokens that fall to ethos that actually has utility. So if people are going to chase meme coins that is outside of the ethos of TitanX, and they're using TitanX community to do so, that's something we cannot let happen. We need to do whatever we can to protect that. I'll say this again: we're not a meme community. We don't want to be in TitanX. If we want folks that are generally in meme coins, typically 99% of meme coin community, there are gamblers, and they're essentially going in meme coins and getting out of it to grab a quick buck. I'm not here for that. I'm here for stable income, passive income. I'm also obviously appreciative of TitanX, what he has built. I'll leave it at that as it relates to that topic. My question particularly is for Steve as it relates to Vault. My question is, Vault has around 46% burnt thus far. What have you seen in Vault thus far as a protocol that has been built for 4 or 5 months now? Like, did you expect this, I guess, drawdown for Vault specifically? And obviously a lot of things has been being done. But like just I just want to understand, like, where do you see Vault as its current state, and also, like, what are you doing in terms of kind of building additional utility for Vault to progress further?
Hey man, thanks for the question. Yeah, Vault released last September, and I streamed about it a lot. It was never seen before in the whole of DeFi. It was brand new tokenomics. And for me, it was releasing it into the wild to see what it does. So just like everyone else, I'm observing what it did and what it does and what it's doing, where it's going. I don't have any. I didn't know how that tokenomic would work out. I liked it. I thought it would be good. That's why I built it. So I thought with Vault, I loved the fairness of the distribution. I thought that was beautiful, and I think it's a great way that even utility tokens can distribute outside TitanX. It's a fair, good, equal with a lot of time for distribution. It intentionally was designed to be a big liquidity, and it was also designed to be bonded with everything, but it didn't work out as a bonding. That was more Shogun kind of took that banner as a big bonding thing. Vault is so that's the past of Vault. Present, yeah, it's tied to TitanX. A leverage on TitanX, so leverage goes up, leverage goes down. So because the liquidity pool is TitanX, it's subject to TitanX needs to go up for Vault to go up, really. Like anything built on TitanX. So that's the present. As for the future, there's I've actually already designed it. Vault staking has been designed already, and there's a simultaneous. Vault staking. When I say designed, the front, everything's done in Vault staking. There's a few tweaks on the front end, but basically it's done, triple audited. It's been done for a few weeks. I slowed the development down. Didn't feel right time to launch it. Liquidity in fees in the ecosystem it just didn't seem. It didn't seem a good timing. So with Vault, I've also developed I call it a secret protocol, which is a free gift to Vault, which I'll launch at the same time as Vault staking. And I haven't talked about it on here. I mentioned it on the Telegram for all the people there, but I've not talked about it much. I've only mentioned it once before, but it's this little free gift. It's kind of cool. I've released it at the same time as Vault staking. Vault staking, I'm planning to release after Bitcoin Genie, probably a couple of weeks after the Bitcoin Genie. I never meant to hype Vault staking up. I think it's a really cool way to add utility to any token. I'm actually willing to. It cost me a lot to build this, by the way, and audit it, and I'm willing to open source this for others in TitanX, so they can use it in their protocol. So I'm willing to do that because it costs a lot to do this. To be honest with you, this Vault staking, some challenges. It done triple audited. I got the best auditors, the top guys we all know. So Vault staking, there's a secret protocol launched after Bitcoin Genie. That's for the future. I hope that answers all your questions, and please ask some more.
Awesome, Steve. Yeah, this is exactly what we should be talking about, right? The existing project that has great utility, and Steve is obviously kind of progressing further on the Vault side. Well, last question, Steve, is Bitcoin Genie. How would that benefit Vault specifically?
Yes, thank you. Bitcoin Genie is going to benefit Vault and TitanX by burning Vault and TitanX. So Bitcoin Genie, I love this protocol. I love the tokenomics of this protocol. It's I've called it gamified utility. It's yield generation. It has collateral backing. It's unique to DeFi. It has an extremely fun gamified utility. It has an affiliate program, which is totally unique. I'm very excited to share about the affiliate program. A gamified utility program, which is really exciting. It has a DAO too, a DAO which has tokenomic twists in it. So the DAO allows tokenomic changes, which are change of flavor. These are fascinating things in this protocol, which I absolutely love. It's the yield generating aspect of Bitcoin Genie. It's the yield, which is going to be buying and burning TitanX and buying and burning Vault. And when it buys and burns Vault, it's buying TitanX and buying Vault. So it's a double burn. So basically all the yield is going to be buying TitanX, half burning TitanX and half burning Vault. So and it's designed uniquely as I designed it intentionally that I didn't want value drain for the users. I wanted it user-centric, so the user value in isn't being drained. So the yield generation is perpetually going to have a bid on TitanX, which is also fascinating. And another thing to add too, it's designed to be user-centric, so there's no user value drain, but it has a very interesting focus on the TitanX ETH pool. So, but by the way, it's paired with TitanX, Genie TitanX, but there's an interesting focus on the TitanX ETH pool. And I've shared concepts of this on this space, like in January. I know Plan A liked it. Jake liked it. And yes, it's absolutely fascinating because the TitanX ETH pool is important, and Bitcoin Genie contribution is, I think, biggest contribution to TitanX is not the perpetual burn, but it's this focus on the TitanX ETH pool, which I think I'll share it soon. Tokenomics want to get back, and I think it's going to be an interesting discussion too, because that TitanX ETH pool, that is the key, because that's going to help Vault, that's going to help all of us. So yeah, let's keep the conversation going. Thank you.
Awesome, Steve. Well, I'll definitely look forward to that. Keep on doing your thing, man. As a community, we definitely appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks, P, and Steve. Yes, that's my sentiment as well. The community appreciates what you're doing, and the innovation that you're bringing to the community. So yeah, we'll continue to watch this space. Utah Crypto, over to you. Utah, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Great. Yes, loud and clear.
Sorry about that. I'm in the middle of folding laundry while I'm listening to the spaces. So,
no worries.
First of all, I just want to say, I love this community. I really do. You guys are amazing. And things have been tough lately, and I need to own some shit here because I'm with Chiz. Unless I see some kind of, and I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but I gotta step up here and take it on the chin that unless I see some on-chain evidence and some kind of explanation that explains otherwise, things were not 100% honest from what I can tell. And, I was out here shilling, and, I owe the community an apology for that because I need to do better and I need to do my due diligence. So, I'm listening to these people, and I'm listening to Chiz, and I love you, man. Chiz, I've said it a million times, I don't necessarily agree with everything Chiz says, and we probably couldn't be more different as far as like our backgrounds and things like that. But at least he's honest and he's real and he's genuine, and I respect that out of anybody. So I need to do better for sure, and I can say, I've given the benefit of the doubt way too many times in my life. And most of the time it doesn't benefit me. It's not an excuse by any means, but God damn it, I wish I'd quit doing it. But, it is what it is. I'm human. I'll take it on the chin, and I need to do my due diligence when, starting to speak up and shill something. I need to do better for sure. Now, with that being said, everything I'm launching or I'm building or I'm involved in or have been involved in, it all follows the ethos, everything. But it will continue to. But and there's been so many good conversations this week. But I do think that the ethos does. We need some clarification on that, and where we go in the future as far as omni-chain and that goes. We're gonna need to navigate this. So I've been loving the conversations this week. I think that this was a big shakeup, and I wish it wouldn't have happened, but we can learn from it and we can grow from it, and I think that's about all I had to say. I will, I'll give an update. Inferno is going omni-chain. Inferno X. We'll drop a white paper this week, and so I'll be looking for that. And I also want to say that I hear the frustration from the community, and I sense it, and it's everywhere. And the community is like, where are the OG founders of their projects? Why aren't we here supporting our projects? And do you blame them? No, I do not blame them whatsoever. I'm doing my best to be here for all the protocols I'm involved in and that I've been a part of. So I'm out here putting in the work, man. So I get it. I understand. And I'm around. If you need to ask any questions or anything like that, shoot me a DM. And yeah, I have not forgot about Blaze, just so you know. It's there, it's trucking, and yeah. I'm probably a little bit too loyal, maybe, but I believe in the stuff that we've built, and I will continue to believe in it and support it, and without saying too much, expand on it. Yep.
Hi, Utah. Are you still speaking? Because it seems
No, I'm done. Sorry, I just clicked the microphone. Like, okay, I'm done.
okay.
But yeah, sorry about that. Yeah,
Not a problem at all. I think we've heard you loud and clear, and thank you for all you do, and definitely we hear you. That you will continue to support the community. Support the projects that you're involved in, and of course the community by extension. I think that's what the community wants to see, and I think if we do that as as a community of builders, if that's done, then yes, the community will respond. So thanks again, Marco. What do you have for us? Good to see you.
What's up, guys? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yeah, I'm just hearing what you guys talk and just hearing how everybody feels about certain things. And just the past couple of days, I'm just observing. I'm observing TG chats, X posts, spaces, all that stuff. And I wanted it to say something, but then I hear Utah speak, right? And nothing pisses me off more than when somebody like Utah has to come on and apologize for others when he did nothing wrong, right? And the reason why I say that is because the gentleman was basically deceived, right? He was deceived to believe one thing while the blockchain was telling him a different story, okay? And it's not just him, it's everybody else that shilled whatever the token was, right? I'm not even mention the name, right? This is what pisses me off because it's like, we're all somewhat experts, right? We've been here for over a year. We know how the technology works. We know how the ecosystem works. We know how the blockchain works. We understand all this, right? And then hold on, I might get cut off because I'm walking out my house. Just the problem that pisses me off to anything is that hold on, I'm getting cut off. Hold on. Is that we say one thing, we promote something, nobody tells anybody where the thing came from, how it's made, the truth. All we do is we brag about the candles, we brag about, the volume is 300,000, is this and this and that. But nobody shows exactly how or where it's coming from, exactly where, right? It's just, you share the excitement, you share it. Others get excited, they share it, but they don't realize where the damage is coming from. Until others look at it, analyze it, and then shares it with everybody, right? Breaks it down, and then those people, the ones actually doing the homework, trying to tell everybody, no, this is where it's coming from. This is how it's working. This is what's happening. They get beat up for a while, right? Until then people start to see the evidence and everybody wants to back off and, oh yeah, this is how it happened. I don't know, right? It's sad because people like Utah, these are good people, right? These are people that, they put trust in others, and other protocols and others, all that stuff. And, of course, we're willing to, shill and share things that we all built together, right? But then when you do it in an honest way, and a lot of white lies built on top of white lies, sooner or later, these people get hit first because they're the face of the stuff. And it's not fair to them, right? Like I said, once again, me personally, I'm over the whole situation. I'm going to speak about it one more time. And it is what it is, right? To me, it wasn't a CTO. Right? Individuals knew where it was, how it was made, all that stuff. They found the opportunity to push it up again. That's what I saw, right? I'm connecting my car. Give me a second, guys.
Hey, can you guys hear me? Yes, loud and clear. All right. Just give me one thing. I'm just connecting to my car, and then I'll be.
That sounded like a Lambo door. Is that a Lambo? Is that a Lambo you hear in there, or what? Just trying to lighten the mood. That's all.
Yeah. Well, I think whilst we're waiting for Marco, just wanted to. Yes, we can hear you. Yeah. Loud and clear. Marco, over to you. We can hear you. Okay. Seems okay. We'll wait for Marco to come back. But in the meantime, let's press on and kind of touch upon a couple of other matters related. Marco, you back?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. It's great.
All right. So, yeah, for some reason I was hearing like a recording or some shit. That was weird. All right. So like I was saying, right? And I feel bad because it's like, people who show these things, people who share these things, they get the arrows first, right? And then the individuals who started all this never really got to sit down in front of the community and really explain step by step the process of the so-called CTO, how the upkeep was really going through, where it was coming from, what wallets really interacted with, who was the original founding wallet, who was the wallet that helped fund it on the side, right? Like, the people who analyze this, we know, right? We've been doing the homework the past couple of days. Like, we know, right? But it's not fair that others have to keep on apologizing for other individuals, right? It's not fair, right? If I did something like this, I will hope every single person in this chat will put me on blast and question me up and down, left and right. Why? Because at the end of the day, these are your funds, my time, your time, everybody's time, right? Like, guys, do we be with each other all year? It doesn't matter. You have to respect people's time and integrity, right? We can't cut corners. We can't be slimy. We can't be snakes. We can't do funky things just because we want to do something different, okay? The other comment I want to make is this. Everybody's free to make whatever they want, okay? Doesn't matter where you build, how you build, when you build, it doesn't matter. You're free to do. You can build 1,000 projects tomorrow if you want. That's fine. But people, I think the ego got to people's heads where they build a few projects and they think they could build anywhere, right? Yeah, you could build anywhere. Doesn't mean you're going to get the same presence anywhere. And I go back to Pulse Chain, right? So many people, they were on Pulse Chain side, riches disappears for stuff like that. People egos goes up and they want to build and try to take over inside Pulse Chain to see their projects just fail. And then they get frustrated, right? Because Richard doesn't promote them or help them out, the community doesn't support them. They build outside of Pulse Chain and they flop everywhere they go, right? That goes to show you something. You never had a presence. The only presence you have is within the community. At least respect that. You understand what I mean? Before you try to step out and be like, I'm going to build my own thing, I'm going to do all this, I'm going to crush this, I'm going to crush that. Well, show me your original protocol first, right? Before you try to do something like that, right? Because to me, it just shows, one, your presence is dwindling within your protocol that you have already. And two, outside presence is non-existent, So it's like you're speaking into the mirror, So I think people need to understand one thing. At the end of the day, whether you like it or not, you're building on Jake's protocol, right? He's not the final say in anything, right? But you're building on his protocol. You're building on his community, right? That he helped build, right? That he started all, right? Same thing with Richard Hart. But people build on his thing, you're building on his protocol, on his community, So you have to understand something. They both have their own ethos. They all have their own rules and the way they want their communities to be. You don't like it? Cool. Build your own community then, right? But prove that you could build your own community. Don't just go and then start attacking or leeching off of their communities or each other's communities. It doesn't work that way, So at the end of the day, guys, look, build what you got to build. I want to see, and I've been saying this for the past few months, right? I want to see the original protocols get a fire again. I want to see the original founders promote their protocols like they wanted to promote it the first 2 weeks when they were talking about it, with the excitement, with the nonstop posting, with the nonstop streams, with the nonstop everything, right? I don't understand why it all stopped. Even when everything was green and we was like killing it for a while, people started disappearing. Streams started slowing down. Like posters started slowing down. Protocols was becoming ghosts. Like there's why, It's almost like people felt like they made it and everybody will just started like, oh, I don't need to do any more. No, that's just the beginning. When your protocol comes out, that's the start of the fight. You know, not when you're making it. When you're making it, you're just making it. The real work and fun begins when it's actually made, right? But now you got to reach out to the world. You don't stop right there, right? It's not fair to the people who invested in your protocol. It's not fair to the people who inspired you. It's not fair to the people who shilling your protocol. Because at the end of the day, they all hear it first before the founder finally hears it. You know. So guys, once again, we got to get back to the basics. If you made a couple of protocols, go back to the drawing board. Why you're excited for that protocol? Why did you make it in the first place? You know, there had to be a vision where you thought, man, I could get 10,000, 20,000 users within my own protocol because I believe this is the right thing to make. Where's that excitement again? Where's that energy? Where was the light bulb? You know, it's getting to the point where people they want to make things and keep on making things and keep on making things, right? Who are you making it for? Who is your audience? Who's gonna touch it, right? Like who? You need users. You can have imaginary users, right? And at the end of the day, I could think I can make a protocol and bring 20,000 people. Okay, how am I gonna bring the 20,000 people? Who have I interviewed? Which blockchain have I exercised with? I played with? I tested it. How many spaces I interviewed with? How many other founders I spoke to outside the community? That all matters, you know? So anything looks good on paper until it's actually out, you know? And I think I hope like all the founders that build on TitanX and outside of TitanX to see it's not easy, right? Anything could go up and green for the first 2-3 months because of the excitement. What really matters is when it starts hitting 60, 70, 80, 90% down, it's how does your protocol react? How does your community react? How does the founder react to that type of action, right? And so far, a lot of people went ghost. A lot of people hasn't reacted to it, you know? It can't be that way, guys. Like we gotta snap out of this like hypnotism we're under, right? Under this hypnosis and like this illusion that everything's fine. It's not. You know, get back to the basics. You know, I know everybody wants to build more protocols and build this and build this and build that and burn this and burn that. I'm gonna make this statement one more time. We are so I feel like we're all drug addicts that we're so reliant of the word buy and burn that's all we almost care for, right? Guys, 99.9% of coins out there, out of tens of thousands of coins out there, or hundreds of thousands, don't have buy and burns. But yet they do 100x, they do 200x, they do 1,000x, right? They do all these type of X's when not 1% of being burnt. We have the luxury of almost every protocol burned at least minimum 20%, 30%. Some protocols build over 50% of the supply. How much more burns do you really want before you guys be like, you know what? This is the protocol I believe in. Let me settle down. I just want to buy it. You know, I don't care how much it burns more. I don't care how much it does more. I don't care what facilities attached to it. It's a good protocol. It burns enough. There's a good founder, a good ecosystem around it. I just want to stick by it. I think the illusion and the issue that people have now is that we're itching for the next thing, right? Or when we build something, I got to make 10 more things to keep up burning it. No, you don't need to, right? Some coins will never reach 60% burn, but they will do. Some coins only have 5% burns, and they do 300 axes, right? We have to start believing what we built and say, hey, what we have already is enough. We have enough yield building utilities in this ecosystem, right? You want to make passive income? We have 5 different versions how to make it, maybe more, right? Probably more, right? You want to stake, you want to do this? We have some things, right? You want to just buy and hold or do this or do that? We have it. You want NFTs? We have it. I don't feel like we have to keep on creating to do this, you know? I think we just need to appreciate what we have, stick to what we have, right? And first build on that, right? Rev it up, make it better again. Like get the excitement going again in these things, and then promote and build other things when it's ready, you know? But guys, we have so many coins that's burnt already. We have so many coins that do well. We just need to re-engage it, you know? It's like you have a whole mall full of stores that do everything you could possibly think of and buy. But people we want to build more malls. We don't need more malls, right? We just need the excitement of that mall, the promotion of that mall, and the traffic to that mall. That's all we need, you know? And I think that's what it is. And the more we keep on just want to build and build and build and build and build, it's going to just happen. People know the previous protocols. get bored of it, and keep on going to the next one until the next one is made, and it's gonna keep on happening. It's almost like wash trading, right? It's almost like laundry money. It's like musical chairs. You just gotta stop that, man. We got amazing protocols. We got good passive income protocols. We got everything you want that works. Use it. We don't need to build more. Build more when the previous stuff is actually doing great or good. To build on things, you need a solid foundation. If the foundation it turns from concrete to straw to hay now, guys, it's all going to collapse. I don't care what we build next. It's going to collapse, especially if you're building on ghost protocols, right? Like, we got to make sure these things are being used, man. We got wonderful things. You got a couple of protocols from the Blaze team. You got a couple of things from the Helios team. You got a couple of things from Volt team. You got a couple of protocols from Jake, right? You got all these protocols that they're proven to work. They're proven that people loved them in the past. People was excited. People was taking screenshots. People was doing all this stuff. What happened? What happened was everybody got excited to build more stuff and wanted to build more stuff, and then everything else got ghosted. It needs to stop. Slow it down. Get excited about the previous stuff. Get that going. Because I'm telling you this right now, anybody outside the ecosystem don't give a fuck. Because when they see 34 plus protocols down 90% and nobody talks about it, especially the founders or teams or anybody like that, what makes you think they're going to touch the next one? They're not. They're laughing at the next one. You know? Slow it down, guys. Back to basics. Like, we have great shit here. We have great protocols here. Use them. Promote them again. You know? When TitanX goes up, those protocols will automatically go up because they're all bounded, right? But you can't rely on that. Because then you just rely on just TitanX to do well, and your protocols is just an anchor. It should not be an anchor. It should be another rocket ship attached to TitanX. That's how things go higher even faster. Not anchors, you know? So that's all I'm going to say about it. Like, just back to basics, man. Like, we need you to refocus on this, you know? And guys, after all this, if you still see founders not talking about the previous protocols or outside TitanX or whatever it is, that's all you need to know about them, right? That's it, right? It's not, they're bad people, right? And just they're not up to the task of continuing their protocols, right? And if they want to build more stuff, you need to be alarmed about it, right? Regardless if it's me or anybody else. That's how it goes. If I make a fucking supermarket once again, and I don't pay attention to it, or a restaurant, and let it go down, I'm like, hey guys, actually come to my next one, or my next one, my next one. You keep on saying I'm going bankrupt, I'm not even doing anything with it. What makes you think you want to promote my next one or invest in my next one? That's how it works, man. Like, snap out of it, back to basics. We got great stuff here. Let's focus on the great stuff. That's it. And then we could build better stuff on top of it. But let's fix the foundation first.
Thanks, Marco. Well said. I think, you know, the trick is really in repetition, and it's the same message. And I hope it sticks. But definitely great points made. One World, over to you. One World, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry.
Not a problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's great words from Marco. Yeah, I'm just sitting here nodding my head the whole time, giving thumbs up the entire time. I mean, that's it. You know, with the past week, I was not involved in any of that stuff, but I watched what happened and everything. But, you know, it's important. Yes, I think we've beaten the horse a bit there in terms of the importance of the build on TitanX ethos. I get it, right? But all I could think about the entire week is like that's not the main thing here. Like all I was thinking about is like, if you follow the build on TitanX ethos, that's just the beginning. That's just step one. That doesn't guarantee success at all for your project or that project, right? And yeah, I don't know. This stuff needed to be discussed, I guess, about last week, but I hope we can move on and maybe next week kind of dig a little deeper into, you know, step 2, 3, and 4 for these projects, and you know, having the founders get reinvigorated and maybe align with a different project. I love what Stacks is doing with ORX. I think that's a great example of that. it's kind of aligning with, Ouroboros, which has a founder that's busting his ass, and he has the quality and the character of what I think most projects should have, right? So when I see some projects, it's like, hey, they, maybe some founders don't have as much time. Does that just mean give up? Maybe you align with Ouroboros or some other projects that are doing the work and do have the time and the effort. And that's kind of like the Stacks example, I guess, is my point here. But anyway, that's it for me today. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. I think yes, you're absolutely right. I think we can look at the next level or the next layer on top of this discussion, and I think we will definitely continue this next week. Let me just mention this. I think Mike mentioned during the Morpheus spaces, a few days ago, that the impact of the community LP drainer that was experienced actually led to liquidations within the TitanX ecosystem, and this, of course, within the Ouroboros protocol. Now, just in case, one is wondering, or anyone here is wondering, okay, but what's the fuss about this? I mean, why the fuss about this? And how exactly have people been caused any hurt? Well, I think this is just one example, and I think Mike mentioned he was going to produce, the Dunes analytics on Ouroboros as well, to help to have a better appreciation. So beyond just prices, just kind of draining the liquidity and having a general impact on real impact, adverse impact on the community. I think overall, it's really a big minus that as a community we felt. So that's Mike, I know if you want to talk about that, then please feel free. Let me know. Just please do step in, and just if you have looked into this a bit further since you raised it the last time and you wanted to share, please feel free.
I think the data regarding the Dune dashboard was rather just a general Dune dashboard for AuraX or USDX rather, to just help to see how the system works, or like how some of the system parameters, and to see how things are growing and stuff like that. So that was just more in general how USDX works per se. But nevertheless, what I said was...
Thanks for the correction.
Yeah.
Thanks there. Yeah. Okay. Yes, over to you.
Yeah, so I mean, that was pretty much like what I said there. Obviously, like I didn't have much time now the last few days to make it happen. I was bogged down with some other analytics I wanted to do and check in the background to just verify some few things on chain. And that's why hopefully this week, upcoming week, although I'm traveling next week, so we'll see how things go. But if I'm finished with that, then I'll I might as well probably even just launch it. Probably some few things which seems like they're not there yet, but nevertheless I will just drop it there, all in all, just I mean, it's obviously it is was a hard time, like for all the whole week essentially. And I mean, I think a lot of things have been said, so I just wanted to listen to just everybody first and see how things have worked out. But obviously, like, for me, was very much surprised, like seeing what was unfolding, and even in the background, just trying to verify, which was hard. And then I mean, I think pretty much everybody have said what they've said. And one thing for sure is that me running TitanX sub in some ways, right? I'm essentially just trying to the max, like the best I can to codify the ethos in a way so that I have all the things there, right? And so like I think also in the past, what you said, Plan A, in the past already, we have these discussions a lot already. And there was a lot of, I don't know, is it fighting or not? Well, I mean, a lot of like emotional discussions on this topic already, pretty much. So, in my sense, I was just more surprised seeing that again and then again, and I just, yeah, it was for me. It was just very, very surprising that we are coming back to somewhat, yeah, like the same thing, which I thought was somewhat like clear, but I guess that's not. Yeah, my perception was definitely not the reality as we've seen unfold. But anyway, I just want to say that for now.
Great. Thanks, Mike. I will want to just raise us very much very related issue. We've spoken about, you know, the ethos and the impact that drainers can have on the community. But the question that will follow really is, are there any gray areas? Is it possible to have a gray area within the TitanX ecosystem? Let me define what gray area, in my view, would be. And please let me know if anyone, has a different view of gray. Please feel free. And this is it. A gray area would be a protocol that does no harm to TitanX, isn't a TitanX ethos protocol, and if anything, contributes to lifting TitanX, contributes positively to TitanX, and that could be, buying and burning TitanX or a related or a TitanX ecosystem protocol. That for me will be a gray protocol, or protocol within a gray area that we probably can discuss and see how that fits. Let me give an example, and I have to give this. I mean, so in effect here, I think we've got three buckets. We've got the TitanX ethos protocols. We've got the drainers. Nobody wants that, of course not. And then we have the gray. And this goes to, I think, what the tweet that Steve DeFi sent out, where, of course, he talked about this, finding a balance where innovation can thrive and of course, benefit the ecosystem. So, question therefore would be: is there any room for protocols within the gray area that are not paired with, TitanX or a TitanX ecosystem token? So it's very clearly out of the the TitanX ethos is paired with, say, ETH, and I think I have there's one in mind that I have here and I'll mention, but burns TitanX. Is this something at all that the community would tolerate? And if so, what would be the parameters? And I'll just go out and say this for we know Rainman, who has been part and parcel of the community from day one, has been part of the Blaze sub-ecosystem, and Inferno, launched his own protocols, and I think that's Eden and Lotus. Also went ahead and launched, we had that discussion exhaustively here concerning how the LP should be structured. Now, of course, he launched a separate project that isn't, a TitanX ethos protocol, but spends about but it has about 14% of all ETH coming in, burning TitanX and TitanX, Lotus and Eden. So burning TitanX indirectly. So point is this. In that instance, if we were to look at numbers, I mean, we know that well over 150 million USD worth of ETH flowed through TitanX within the first few months. Now, the protocol that Raymond built, if you have even a tenth of that flowing through, his protocol, that would be about 15 million, USD worth of ETH. Now, if you look at anywhere between, you say, okay, 10% of 15 million is about 1.5, but he's actually is at around 14%. So let's just cap it around 1.7, as in, you're sort of 14%, so that'll be 1.7 million USD worth of it. Point is, if that protocol had done that well, you would have had a 1.7 or thereabout million USD worth of ETH flowing into the TitanX ecosystem, buying and burning, without being a drainer on the system. Is there a space, within our framework, within the TitanX ecosystem framework, that can accommodate protocols that, are paired with other, non-TitanX protocols, but buy and burn TitanX directly or indirectly? That's the question. Good. Emiro, over to you. But let me just say this very quickly. We've come up to the 2-hour mark, just being, the discipline that we've imposed upon ourselves. We've come up to the 2-hour mark. Well, folks, if you feel that you need to go, please feel free. You can always listen to, play this back and listen to it. Those who can stay, definitely, you're welcome. But yes, let's continue. Emiro, yes, over to you.
Hey guys, appreciate the space. I won't take up too much time. So in regards to thinking about like that gray area space, I come from the Tang Gang, and so what they've done is use their token to mint NFTs and partner with a revenue sharing DEX. And they have like a royalty pool where secondary sales of the NFTs go to buy the DEX token. And that DEX token receives a revenue share from all the exchanges and activities from aggregators and all that. I know they're going to drop on Ethereum. Right now they're on Pulse, Sonic, and Base. So when that comes to Ethereum, you could have a collection of, I know there's plenty of NFT artists in TitanX, so you don't even have to. And receive that revenue share and use that to buy and burn TitanX, for example, if they want. Just throwing that out there.
Great. Sorry, what's the name of the protocol again, or the token you mentioned?
9MM.
Oh, I see, 9M. Okay, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Good. Does anybody else have? Thanks for that contribution. Thank you. Does anybody else have anything to add to that?
I mean, yeah, when it comes to 9MM, the dude and I were on a space over on Base, and the joke is, enter Uranus. Come on over and check it out, see how things are. And 9MM was on that space, and they said, how about if Uranus comes over to 9MM? So they kind of just mix it. They turned it back on us. So we're definitely going to evaluate stuff over there. This is all a big experiment. Should we always stay on Uniswap? Should we try out those V-Force hooks? Should we create LPs on 9MM? You know what? this is an experiment. We're gonna try things. We're gonna do things, and we're gonna be transparent. Is it all gonna work? No, it's not all gonna work. Some things are gonna work amazingly well, and then some things will be like, why the hell did James and Dude do that? What were they thinking? But anyways, we just want to say that the 9mm community knows about Uranus. They of course, I'm sure they know about TitanX long before we were talking about it. But yeah, they're doing some interesting stuff over there. They're well respected.
We have a saying, put the memes on the decks.
You know what? You're seeing the future. You're seeing the future.
Well, I think James, I think something you said there that is key is being transparent. So that is key, and I know you and Dude have been, if anything, I mean, you've been definitely very, very much, very transparent, and that is really the message. So we can have the open discussion here, and that is what we encourage, and that's what we said from the beginning of this session, that we speak freely. If there are any ideas that can enhance where we are, can lead to interconnectivity within the broader crypto ecosystem, that is what we should do. And that's what we should suggest and be free to discuss. So the TitanX ethos is not a prison. And I hope that when, as we round up, that we don't leave here thinking that, that this is a prison, that, no, not at all. What we hope that this can achieve is that we can have an open discussion on this. But what we would hope to discourage is a kind of bad actor behavior, whether it be intentional or unintentional. Behavior that could damage the community. That's what we want to discourage. But if you have any ideas about how to push this community forward, interlock with like-minded communities within the broader, crypto ecosystem, and get a win-win, I think we need to have those discussions. Great. Chiz, you had your hand up. After you, then cryptographic. Okay.
A few things. A proposal for a more structured dialogue around the token economic innovations. I think, so the question, is there a gray area? There has to be, right? But what's important, and one of the things that Ouroboros said that registered well with me was he basically said, like everyone, including Jake, is open to the dialogue, right? So the problem is that there's no structure currently to really create alignment around the core builders. So the suggestion is that the core builders, anyone that can, and in terms of defining who that is, I would ask, like, who are the stakeholders that need to be fully aligned in order to innovate, right? Whoever those people are, I would encourage to get into a private, confidential setting. Those are people like Jake and Steve and Dude and Eric and anyone else who considers themselves part of the, and frickin' working through, okay? Because innovation requires trust. That's the first thing, is I would encourage it, because otherwise people are going to keep on getting reduced when shit hits the fan, and then, and people get hurt. And so I would say, I do think it's on the builders in this case. And I think I, as a user and a community member, am encouraging the builders to just create your own circle of sorts where you can work this stuff out. And if you can't, then ask for help. Right, that's the first thing. As it relates to what Marco was saying around, around we've built so much around the burning, and I sort of look at this as a product person. Like, you can only have one product at a time, and be successful at it. I mean, there are a few entrepreneurs that can have multiple products, but not as a startup. As a startup, you really need to have one product. If you don't have one product and one product market fit and traction, and that's really sustainable, then the protocol is highly at risk, which is why I think we see a lot of protocols right now that are well-intentioned, have done their service in terms of burning, and might need to be killed, right? And so part of this is like whoever owns the protocol, whoever is responsible, like I think it's up to you to say, you know what, it's done its job, we're going to close it down, or you can let Judas do it. Like Judas everything that dude and now James put together is, you know, connected back to Helios. Everything that calls Helios knows that it's a long-term project designed with a treasury, potentially to independence so that it can survive no matter what. And so whatever you think about Helios and then Fragility and then now Uranus and, you know, and anything else, at the very least, I would imagine please be consistent, just like Boris, and communicating and being in the trenches and being collaborative and just getting out there. So for me, my criteria at this point is, you know, so that's why I do believe that certain protocols either need to be killed, meaning shut down intentionally, or need to be focused on so that we can really grow, because each protocol that isn't like getting adoption, if it's just sitting there waiting for TitanX to 10x, you know, and then you promote it then it's a sieve. It becomes a sieve, and energetically and economically and financially, we really need to create a tight ship where capital can come in, it can flow in, and it can flow out, and it can flow in, and it can flow out. And so that idea that Steve presented to us earlier about, you know, is there a possibility for a leverage liquidity drain? Of course there is. Yes, right? That's part of it. And so as we extend horizontally, because we have to, I mean, look, Jake set the infrastructure and we're following on the bridge, right? And so what's happening now is, by definition, we're extending from Ethereum first to base and then to other places. And in order to be successful, I think we're only going to bring what's working. We only bring what we can build around, and which is why I like what Dude and James are doing. I'm not saying it's going to be successful long term, though I do believe Uranus will be, just because it's fundamentally sound, and I think it can probably 10x its user base. If it 10x its user base on base, we will 100x, right? That's how the network effect works, and that's why, like, we need to be focused on users and product market fit. And if your product hasn't attained adoption, like, that's the key metric, is, are we gaining users and eyes and momentum, or are we just like dying on the vine? And right now, I think there's a bunch of stuff dying on the vine which needs to be killed, so that we don't continue to invest time, energy, money in things that haven't gotten adoption. That's just my opinion. Peace out, y'all. Have a great week.
Thanks, Jez. I think, that's all very, very, very well noted. Thanks again. Yes, crypto graphics, over to you.
Yeah, thanks. Chiz, appreciate your thoughts on all this, and appreciate everyone's thoughts so far. I think we can really simplify things, though. In my opinion, we have build on TitanX, We have gray area, non-malicious, non-draining, trying new things, not harmful. That's a category. And then we have categorically malicious. And I think the one thing I'll say, I'll be humble here and say I have learned a lot over this past week from the situation that I previously did not know, nor did I operate on the basis of that knowing. And so I am probably missing some things here, and I'm open to being corrected, and I'm open to, expanding on this. But to me, it does seem really simple that it's either is a build on TitanX protocol, and we support it openly. And that's the one thing this community has that other communities don't, is when something falls within the category, because we're allowed to build, we're supportive of one another, is we bring up one another when we are when we're creating stuff within the ethos. And when something is in a gray area, that doesn't mean we condemn it, as long as it's not being malicious. If it's gray area, non-malicious, they're just their own thing. It's its own thing. And eventually someday, if it has a big enough impact, it has all the other boxes checked, we'll see what happens there in terms of evolution, in terms of community support. But I think we can categorically put 3 different categories out there to easily follow. And that gives us really easy framework to work with. And also it allows for evolution over time. It allows for the community to kind of grow in its own way, because, maybe the community really ends up finding value in the gray area, and a lot of stuff gets built in that gray area. I think it's important to consider how that could expand, but just to have it definitively build on TitanX, not build on TitanX, but still doing some kind of contribution to the ecosystem in some way that may or may not end up being fully beneficial and outright malicious. And I agree with the idea of transparency too. I think, if we are transparent about this as, thought leaders or forefront people, public figures, however you want to interpret those of us speaking about this, I think it's important for the communication side. If we see something, call it as it is. If it's within the category 1 of being built on TitanX, support it. If it's not, we have to be transparent about what things are going on here. So, I really, for me, reflecting on why we're where we are, I feel like you could go back and listen to guys like Mark, or you listen to Chiz, you listen to James, Utah, everyone that's spoken here or in previous spaces about communication. And when communication from the top down or from the public, it doesn't have to be top down, but when a unified communication does not occur on what's happening, where things are going, the status of things, where we're at, like what we're standing for, it's really easy for this gray area to allow malicious people to come in. And there's a vacuum, and someone's going to fill it. And when the voices get really loud, for once, people are going to rally behind that. People like convicted people. People like to rally around something. And so if we don't have that communication consistently, we open the door for that. And also, the last thing I'll say here too is, if we have a gray area where we're like, oh, maybe, well, this whole space is one of the most dangerous spaces to have gray area in, because when you have gray area, you allow people in that are going to exploit the kindness and exploit trust and exploit. This whole space operates on code is law. And if code can be exploited, code will be exploited. Don't allow ethos to be exploited. Don't allow code to be exploited. Categorically create the foundation of what is and is not and is definitely malicious, and then we're fine. That's my 2 cents. I'd love to hear if anyone else disagrees or wants to add to that. But it really seems plain as day for me at this point.
Thanks, Cryptographics. I mean, you've been very clear. Does anybody want to add to that? Okay.
I think he hit it right on the nail, what he just said, right? Everything he said is valid, right? It doesn't have to come from top down or bottom up. Like, at the end of the day, like, we all play a role in this community. We all play a role of how things go, word of mouth, what products go in, what products go out, stuff like that, right? And
the message that I think everybody is sharing here is not targeting all the other founders here, right? Or all the other founders not on the calls and stuff like that, right? Jake is also included too. He is a founder, right? Even whether he's the number one founder or not, he's a founder too. So his absence does affect the community too. And that's under Jake's responsibility too, And trust me, the way I express my feelings towards other founders are like, look guys, you've been ghost for months, like you need to go back to your protocols and speak to your people that's holding your tokens. The same thing when I do see Jake on a stream or on Spaces or whatever it is, I'm going to tell him the same thing, right? Because we all got to help hold each other to a certain standard, right? Same thing with him. Like, look, I appreciate you build all the time. I appreciate you do stuff. But you got to have some sense of communication with your community. Not that you have to post every day or be there, but once in a while, let people know you're live and let people know, what you're working on. Doesn't have to be in detail, right? And stuff like that. And, if you see the turmoil happening in your community, once in a while, step in, but hey, guys, this is what's happening. This is my idea of it. This is my input of it. And, same thing that every founder should do, right? So I don't want any founder or any builder feel like it's only targeted to them. It's everyone included. And this goes to future builders and future founders in the future, right? It's like, we all care for this. We all done this for a whole year, right? Everybody played a role. Nobody's more important than anybody else, right? Everybody has their own niche, their own way of doing things, So like I said, everybody agrees here. We just want people to go back to the basics. We want people to talk about your protocols you had before, get that excitement, get that spark going again. What made you want to build these things? Get back to that basics, And then when you're excited, the thing is this, I noticed this. A lot of people, it's like people used to go to the gym like crazy, used to be in shape. They don't, 6 months, they eat garbage, they get fat again. Now, when they used to be super experts to go to the gym, now they're super afraid just to step foot because they feel like people are going to point at them. Oh my God, you gained weight. You've been lazy. You've been this. I think a lot of founders feel like that, If you get excited with your protocol, you damn well believe other people will be right behind you getting excited again, If I see protocols, founders of protocols start talking about the protocols again and getting excited, stuff like that, you best believe I won't be talking about your shit again, right? I cannot be more excited about your protocol than you could be more excited about your protocol. That's impossible, right? It's your baby, right? So I think other people feel that way. So get back to the basics, get excited for your shit that you built in the past. We could get excited for it once again, and we get the ball rolling together. We could figure this out together, right? That's how we did it in the beginning, together, So let's get back to it. Just back to basics, guys. It's very simple. Take it day by day. Things are not going to change within a month or in a day. It's going to take some time, right? But let's get back to basics. That's all that needs to be done.
Thanks, Marco. Absolutely. And going back to cryptographics point on, the gray area, I completely agree. Any gray area here has to be defined because, yes, it will be exploited. And I think we can anticipate that and get ahead of it. I mean, if anyone thinks that by gray area, we mean that unverified contracts are acceptable, unaudited contracts are acceptable, or unlocked liquidity pools are acceptable, then I think they completely missed the mark. No, the guardrails that we are all used to and that we've all come to accept within the TitanX ecosystem or the TitanX ethos ecosystem will still apply. The only difference really with the gray, if you like, the gray area protocols would really be, pairing with a different token. It may be ETH or whatever token that may be within, within Ethereum or elsewhere. That may very well be, different from TitanX or separate from any TitanX related token. Now, I think that is where I see the difference. So you're setting up your LP, you're setting that up with a token that is simply that is not related to the TitanX ecosystem. I think that's where I see the difference. That's the gray. But everything else would still apply. So contracts have to be verified. They have to be audited. Locked liquidity pools. We still don't want these rug pools that are that are pervasive elsewhere. There is a reason why within the TitanX ethos ecosystem, there hasn't been a rug pool.
so far. And it's because, the vigilance of the community, the fact that we've operated as a community, builders and the community have really bonded in a good way. And yes, we have the guardrails that have worked. So I don't want anyone thinking that by gray, we mean that this is a free-for-all where, people see an opportunity to come and exploit or take advantage. Okay, so I just wanted to get that out there. Good. Yes. Cryptographics after you, then Morpheus.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on what you're saying. I do agree with some of it, but I do want to maybe try and define it a little bit more, because if someone just comes in and makes a liquidity pool, that can easily, like if someone comes in and makes a liquidity pool, it markets to TitanX, does nothing else, they're extracting more than they're taking, because especially if it's small or if it's even 50-50 or anything like that, like I think the gray area needs to be defined as giving back to the ecosystem more than they're taking, however, not within the exact ethos that makes it build on TitanX. Like it can't be anything but that, in my opinion, because if you have anything but that, where it's, taking, it's got a liquidity pool and it's not like a scam, like that leads to, it's just malicious. That to me, that's a malicious category, and it has to be giving to TitanX more than it's taking. If it's not giving more than it's taking, then it's in the malicious category and it's not gray area. So to me, I want to put that out there.
Great, thanks for saying that. And I think yes, I definitely should have said that it should be contributing something to TitanX, and I mean buying and burning TitanX directly or indirectly. Or that component has to be there. Otherwise, forget it. It's just simply, absolutely. It's just simply extracting. And even so, I think even the gray area protocols, I think to the extent the community is happy, I think we'd have to decide whether they should be marketed directly to the TitanX community, and whether it should be done, within the sort of in this sort of forum. It may be the community says yes, we give them, we give these gray area protocols some space to speak to TitanX, the TitanX community, because you know what, net, they are a positive, they're contributing, they're buying and burning TitanX. That may be something that, the community decides, but yes, cryptographics, you're absolutely right. Whatever this gray area protocol, whatever it is that this gray area protocol is doing, it must be contributing more than it is taken from the, TitanX community. So thanks for saying that. Morpheus, yes.
Yeah, cryptographics already addressed most of the points. What I do want to say is that it's not the code that brings value. It's the code that gives us the trust to support it. The value comes from us. And I think a lot of misconceptions I see floating around with the TitanX ethos and the code and everything. Yeah, I agree. The code is what gives us the trust to support it. But the value is us. But people talk about it like the code is the value. That there's zero code value in code if it's not used. So the value comes from us. So yeah, no, I agree.
Great. Guys, thank you so much for the contribution. I think we will definitely continue this debate next week. I think we play this back, and I'm sure that we will hear things that we probably missed. This is definitely the way to go in order to achieve. Yeah. I'm sorry, Coach. What's the main topic for next week's space? Like, I would like to have a structure regarding this. Like, what's the topic? One topic I would like, if it's possible, is maybe next Sunday, and if it's possible for all the founders to do is, I would like all the founders of TitanX or the team members or a representative of them to come on the space next week and just talk to us about your protocol from the beginning to the journey of it, to where it stands now, how they feel about it, what's the goal for it going forward, and what can others do to help. But before others help, what they're doing to help themselves in the protocol first. I think it'll be very important for the community to see where all the founders stand, all the teams stand, and anybody who assists them, where they stand with it, right? Because then we could tell their mindset, the progress they're feeling, the pressure they're feeling, and somehow, how can the community help, right, with them? You know, some people, like I said, some people, they hit the gym all the time, they're experts, they haven't gone for 6 months, and then, you know, they feel like a noob again, right? Like, some people need to just shake off the rust, right? How can we help them with that, right? I would like to see a space where it's productive like that, where we just analyze, you know, where people stand, the protocols, and how can we help, you know, and to see their mindset and stuff. That's important, especially going forward, right? Just like Chis said, because if some people, their mindset's not into it and they just don't want to do it anymore or stuff like that, maybe they're just afraid to say it, then certain things need to just be left alone, right? Or we ramp it up, you know, and, you know, pump it up again and help it out and do all that stuff and get excited again. But we need to know where everybody stands, the mindset and stuff. So I would like to see a space like that.
Great. Thanks, Michael. So in summary, I'll be a founder's updater, and in that framework, they would have to, you know, explain what help they need, if any, and of course a status, really pretty much a status update.
Yeah, a nice update. Yeah. It helps the all-around community of TitanX, but most of all, right? This is not just for the all-around community, but all for the mini ecosystem of communities within those protocols, right? I think every founder owes it to those people that wants to know where they stand, and, you know, is it worth still being into this protocol or not, and, you know, what can they do to help? Right? That's the key word. Forget about everything else. What can they do to help the protocol or the founder, right? If they need it, right? Nobody can help if you don't speak up, or you don't talk about the issues or the challenges and stuff like that, right? So I think that's important to have this type of talk.
Great. Yes. Okay. I definitely noted that. I think it was P who mentioned, probably was, who mentioned the probably have a next step, as in a follow-on from where the discussions we've had today. And I would think that would include firming up what the gray area means. I think just like, you know, for a period of time, people wanted something in black and white concerning the TitanX ethos, and that was provided. And there are at least a couple of websites that have the TitanX ethos written out and readily available for anyone who wants to study it. I think we probably can do something similar once this idea is firmed up and we get clarity on what is really a gray area protocol and how we can actually support gray area protocols. I think that could also form part of our discussion in the coming weeks ahead. So great. Thanks, Michael. Definitely have made note of that. And I think we probably will do that. We'll start off with the founders update next week. Morpheus, yes. You, and after you, Yuta, and then P. And then we start rounding up.
Yuta was first. I'll let him go.
Okay. Oh, Yuta. Okay. Yuta, you go first.
Yes, I just wanted to say I 100% think that's an amazing idea to do that next week. And if we do go that route, please make a post and make it shareable and everything well in advance. If you could do that, please, so we can get the word out and make sure we can get everybody on board and do a roll call and an update. And I think it's amazing, man. And that's what needs to happen. And the community wants this. I mean, they're screaming for it. So 100%, man, let's do that. I just think it's an amazing idea. Marco, I sent you a DM. That's all I got. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Yuta. And I do promise to send out the announcement for the next spaces session. I'll do that. I'll definitely give advance notice to everyone, and I'll go to the individual Telegram groups and make sure that that the message is communicated. So thanks again, Morpheus. Over to you.
Yeah, I wanted to say again, if you want to have any information about how to create the AI pictures and the things that I do, you can always DM me. I've helped a lot of people along the way to get their own thing going, and my DMs are always open if you want to have direction in that.
Great, thanks, Morpheus. P, you next.
Appreciate it. Love the idea, Marco. I think that's something that we need as a community in especially when everything is down, for founders to really get excited and talk about their project, because that makes me kind of excited, right? Essentially, like understanding what their thought process is in terms of what their project means to them, as well as where they see in the future. The only request is, can we get Jake and Eric as well to speak in the space? I would love for them to kind of talk, because it's been quite a while since I heard anything from them, so I don't have any direct line of contact with them. So whoever does, it would be much appreciated if you could kind of get them on the stream as well.
P, well, I can assure you that I will invite them. I don't know, whether they will be in attendance, but I will definitely send the invite to them. Thanks again. Chiz, over to you.
Yeah. Let me just say one thing. I mean, this has to do with X is part of the problem here. I don't want to excuse anybody for not showing up consistently for their community and team. I don't, but sometimes part of the reason I would guess that Jake and Eric don't show up is because when they do, they get attacked, right? And so part of this is creating, without being soft, creating safe spaces for people to show up without getting attacked. And that's that's both in a space like this, but especially in the public forum on, and part of the reason why people block people, and part of the reason why, people that get put themselves out there tend to get attacked, right? And so there's this. So the thing is that I don't know if you can expect Jake or Eric, who haven't been here for how long, to show up, but maybe I would say an invitation, all of us should invite everybody in. But I think understanding why, people who put themselves out there and then get attacked in this really hostile environment of public X, that's why I'm saying just take it private first. Get figure out, and so that's the first thing. The second thing is I've been thinking about how the 9mm, the 9mm people have done this. Now, I'm not in that project. I wish I were, quite honestly. But I've been watching, and I feel like what they've done is really interesting. And because I watch stuff on Pulse Chain, they've been tarnished by the, all of the rivalries on Pulse Chain and all the toxicity, and everyone's trying to pull each other down. But what I've seen with those guys is they're freaking relentless and so I've seen them very agilely ingratiating themselves to two new ecosystems, Base and Sonic. And the one thing that they've done is the same thing that Andre Cronje and his team are talking about right now that they've done, which is the smart utilization and the intelligent application of airdrops that actually incentivize loyalty, that incentivize community, that incentivize engagement. And so I think that one way that I've seen to be successful at integrating into a new community is to take off the marketing like attitude and to take off the I know it all, we've got something special attitude, and start to listen and start to see where the value is on the chain. And then you build partnerships. And partnerships are the number one like focus for any fledgling enterprise that already has product market fit. If you have product market fit, then you go for partnership. And partnership like looks very different. Like it looks very different than like what we're currently doing now. And so what you do with partnership is you build relationships first, and then you see where the shared value opportunities and value chains are. And that's why like with Sonic, and like base is harder, honestly, just in terms of someone like me who's like looking to build partnerships. Base is harder because it's just different like that. It's hard to describe, but it's partially Coinbase, and then it's the relationship between Coinbase and the base chain, and how they're funded and how they're incentivized and how they're building like from a base perspective. It's a little bit more complicated to build partnerships, which is why if we're looking to build partnerships, places like Sonic is a lot easier because because everyone's looking to partner up. Everyone's looking to like see how do we build, and so I'm not saying that we should focus on Sonic, honestly. I think we need to focus on Ethereum because that's where we are, and we focus on base. But I'm heading to Sonic because I like it. It's where DeFi innovation is. It's where I'm going to build my next value base. I just know it because that's me. And I'd love it to be with X28 and with USDX because I see the value proposition there. But if it doesn't, if X28 and Shogun and and anything else isn't going to show up. Oh, and Ouroboros isn't going to show up for me on Sonic, then guaranteed my capital is going to go to flying tulip. I just know me. So the point is that this is a very competitive environment. The way that if you have product market fit, look for partnerships. And then through partnerships is where we can really build traction in a new community. And so I would be, following the 9mm model of ingratiating yourself by seeing the value and then dropping, and engaging value to your users. Peace out.
Hey, cheers. I just want to add to that. Imaru, just give me 1 second, buddy, and I'll let you speak. I'm sorry. To add on to the 9mm, right? So Tangang. I have the biggest love and hate relationship with this community, right? I have the utmost respect for them, especially for the founder and the dev of 9mm, right? I could happily say it's probably one of my best protocols I'm in on Pulse Chain, probably by far. And there's only one reason why. They made Pulse OGs as an NFT. They kept it very simple. They told everybody how they want things to be. They made the DEX. People get rewarded through the DEX, through Pulse OGs, okay? Any update or anything the founder does, right? When he makes a more utility, this is the thing. He's not making more tokens and more this and more that. He's making more utilities, key difference. And the more utility he builds and the more utility he adds and the more he does, he makes sure a portion of that goes through and rewards the Pulse OG holders. I'm probably one of the top 10 holders of Pulse OG. I'm beyond happy of how he handles things, the founder. He's always up to date.
About that Sonic airdrop, Marco.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to get to it, right? So even when 9mm at one point had an exploit, and everybody in the world of Pulse Chain was trying to attack the founder and all that stuff, he stuck by his guns. He tried to figure out what happened. He figured it out. But not only that, he helped fix the issue and made sure not one person lost a cent. Right? Even though it maybe temporarily hurt the protocol, it helped it long-term. But now everybody believed it even more. Right? They went over to base to reward previous holders of ETH with airdrops. a base. And if you look at the chart, it did pretty well and stay active over there. When Sonic came out, now they're doing the Sonic airdrop. And now people are rushing to Myth over there and claim their previous, right? The whole point is this. You don't have to keep on making tokens, okay, to make your previous token better. You don't have to do that. 9mm showed you don't have to do that. You could build utility that helps the whole ecosystem in the current ecosystem and outside of it. You're trying to branch away or do an omni-chain type of thing, but still make sure it funnels through at least that one token you made, 9mm through Pulse OGs, right? Like right now, I have not sold one, and I refuse to sell one because I see, wow, so the beginning I had this, not only did I had a hiccup, he fixed the hiccup, he added to the utility, and he's building more. And I can see all the builders trying to do similar to what he's doing, right? I would never sell these damn things, no matter what, because I know sooner or later I'm just going to receive something more in the future, right? It's like a gem. You know, it's my own personal little Bitcoin as an NFT. I'm never going to let it go, right? I think that's what founders maybe in the ecosystem of TitanX needs to do, right? Start thinking about utility. And then when people use that utility, how can it help you other protocols? You don't have to make another token because what's going to happen is people are going to just sell your previous token for the next one. By building utility, people are not selling your previous token for the next one, right? They're going to use the utility and get rewarded with the previous token they have. That's major. And that's why I respect the founder and, you know, Tangang and all the things they build over there, because they're very strict and they're very strategic of how they do things, right? But they make sure they don't try to forget about the previous things, you know? They build on it and they build it through utility, and that's huge.
That's great. Thanks, Michael. I haven't looked into 9mm, you know, recently. I know when they launched, but really haven't taken another look. As a DEX, it seems it seems they're doing the right things, taking the right steps, and we can always learn from good practice. So good. Emiro, yes, over to you.
Yeah, just to build off of what Marco and Chiz have been saying, the dev of 9mm didn't even approach Tangang first. He had reached out amongst other Pulse folks. Unfortunately, was rejected. Fortunately for the gang, he came to us, and we rallied behind him. So, as much as 9mm and their team is their own thing, it's definitely the Tangang's DEX. And I'll also vouch for that exploit, right? But I had been paid back in full, and then some, upwards of 200%. So, he does the right thing. And what the Tangang has also done is, like I said before, with that NFT collection and the royalty pool, is locking up their tokens. And it's done in a way where you don't, I'm going to use the name of the token just for easier sake, HOA. They don't burn the HOA for the NFT. It's just locked up, and you can break the glass if you want the tokens back. But the beauty of it is that the royalty pool, royalty address from secondary sales acquires the DEX token and pays out the revenue share to the community. So as far as that gray area of TitanX, that's why I suggest, maybe half of the revenue goes to the holders, but also half of that revenue goes to buy and burn TitanX. You can really use it how you guys want to. I'm no dev. I know there's plenty of NFT folks around here. I've seen it. I haven't myself participated, but it all seems really cool. It really is a beautiful thing. So you will definitely be seeing the content from 9mm when they hop on Ethereum. Right now, they're doing their Sonic quests on Zeely. You can go ahead, get some free NFTs for yourself, dump it on the floor, or you can hold them and get 9mm in perpetuity and then sell that and go get your TitanX. It really is serve yourself. But we just, all try to row in the same direction.
Great, thanks again. Quite a bit to chew on, but yes, good ideas there. It's great. Now we're coming up to the 3-hour mark, and this takes us back to the days of when TitanX launched. We used to have I think if you recall, we used to have the 3-hour spaces, and those days were fun. But I think we will need to wrap up. Before we do so, are there any other comments, observations at all, or concerns that anyone would like to share before we close?
I just want to say, I think this feels like a turning point where we're getting definitive on what the future looks like. We're getting unified as, how we want to operate going into the future. We've even got, luckily now we've got guys from other communities like Emiro coming in. Kingsley, we get to hear you speak, but we're having a dialogue that I think is seeming to point to a new wave that we're kind of going towards. So everyone that has spoken, everyone that shared thoughts, feel like this was a really meaningful conversation, really necessary, and I'm thankful for it. So onward and forward, guys. I'm looking forward to being here with all of you for the many months and years ahead. And this feels like a really, really pivotal moment.
Thanks, Cryptographics. And on that note, I think that's a good note to start wrapping up. So I would ask for just closing remarks, and let's limit it to 30 seconds. We'll start with Emiro. You've had some really good input here, so I must say thanks.
Hey, no, I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. Not going to take much more of your time. This is good stuff. I hang in the background, but I'm in the pool, so have a good one, y'all.
Thank you. Chiz?
Yeah, no, it's all good. I'm just, I was just collecting my USDX staking rewards, which, I'm just psyched on. And so it's part of this is really focusing on what's working for me as a user. And Ouroboros protocol is the one thing that I know I can use my TitanX, my DragonX. And so when I think about this ecosystem, it's really grounded in TitanX. And what Ouroboros has done is given me it's given me a use case that I like. So I'm really bullish on that. So have a great week.
Great. Thanks, Chiz. Utah.
It's been a great space. I just want to say, I believe this is the best community in crypto. And if you're in here and you don't believe that, why don't you help us make it that way? Thank you.
Thank you. Kingsley, your closing remarks. I know you didn't get to speak.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I actually came to the space late, and I'm just sorry for that. But I just figured something, like the commitment you guys just did today, just like it's fueling me, like 3 hours straight on just a space like just build on TitanX, and you guys went for 3 hours. I was coming out from a meeting now, a physical meeting, so I came out to say, wow, meet these people speak. And on coming online, I saw that you guys are still in this space. I was saying, like, what? And there are two things going on now. Michael Dane is live on some other things, and here you guys are, wow, like the commitment is great. Like actually, I'm just with you, like in the background and out. And Caesar is also with us, please. You guys know he's just like busy. He has some things like that. So for now, just like I like the commitment. It's very great. Still sorry about missing like spaces for some weeks though. Sometimes X is misbehaving in Nigeria. But for now, just kudos to everyone. My 10 seconds up. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks again for the kind words. Morpheus, over to you.
You guys hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Perfect. Yeah, let's keep on grinding, and the more united we are, the more louder we get. So let's keep on pushing.
Thank you. Cryptographics?
I guess I could only echo what I said previously, and thank you guys. Really excited for the future. Really excited for TitanX and its ecosystem and how it's going to grow and expand. And man, everything's pointing to some bullish times coming real soon here. So yeah, we're at the bottom and we're at real lows, but I think everyone's got to remember what's look at the facts, look at what's going on, look at the metrics, look at how the macro market's looking, and things are looking good. I think we're only a short time away from some really bullish times. So I'm looking forward to next weekend. Looking forward to more hearing about the updates on everyone's protocols. Looking more to share about Taurus and to give updates on that as well. So thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and have a wonderful week.
Great. Thanks, Cryptographics. Marco, your closing remarks.
Hey, man, all I just want to say is back to basics, bitches. That's all that's needed, man. Just refocus, re-engage, re-get excited, and keep on sharing shit, man. That's it. We only could share things when people share with us. So get back to basics, get back to the drawing board, look at what you built in the past, what gets you excited, get us back excited so we could get you excited, and we'll be all excited, man. All right, so back to basics, guys. Enjoy your weekend, man.
Absolutely. I think back to basics is really, we can really sum up, a lot of what has transpired in these spaces over the last week as, an encouragement to get back to basics. So thanks again, Marco. And James, your turn.
Well, thank you. I think Marco has brought up some really, really good points. I'm going to front run him a little bit and say there is a tiny chance that the Omni-Chain tokens will launch this week. It's not as easy as you think. This Omni-Chain stuff, getting those LPs right, is not as easy as we thought. So if we happen to launch before next Sunday, I would ask that keep your eye out. Watch out for the dude, in Helios Element 280, Tiny Dragon Scale, JC Tech Future. Just watch for our announcements. All 4 protocols would be launching at the same time on Ethereum. Short time after, they will launch on Base. Then there'll be LPs on both sides, and there'll be all kinds of interesting ARB opportunities. We'd love to be able to launch this week. I'd love to snap my fingers and say tomorrow, but it's definitely not tomorrow. But I just wanted to say that if you're building on Omni-Chain, hats off to you, because that stuff, it is interesting over there. It's very, very interesting over there. So we really hope for your support on Omni-Chain. The more support we have over on Base, the better we're all going to be. So thanks for the time. Cheers, all.
Great. Thanks, James. Mike, over to you.
Yeah. So hi everyone. Hope you had was a good talk today, and thank you for listening in. All the guys on YouTube as well. Just want to say that probably just something small today, which I shipped on TitanX Hub. I think right after the name of all the projects, there is now a new icon, just a small one. It's just a little thing where you can click on it, and then the contract you can copy the contract with one click essentially. And that's also on the portfolio page as well. So just making some sometimes just also like some small improvements, but I think these are also just things which I like to make some few small adjustments. And just trying to make it TitanX Hub better and better. There is going to be some new updates coming. I'm going to be traveling next week, so probably the week after when I'm back. And then looking forward to that. Thank you for listening in. Have a good one. See you next week.
Thanks, Mike. And I just want to say to everyone, just looking at on a macro level, the bull market is still in play. Yes, we're going through a very boring phase, but I think the market structure is still there, and the next kind of few months ahead, leading to end of year, we may very well experience some really magical times. And I'm talking about, again, this is not financial advice at all, but if we do experience a parabolic bull run, you can almost look at what that may do to TitanX. So if you've got Ethereum outperform, and I know it seems to be a delayed performance, but if it eventually performs and performs well, we may be in for some really exciting times ahead. And on that note, please do know that we aim to be responsive to the community and community sentiment. That is why we hold these spaces. If you have any ideas, you have any suggestions, please feel free. You can reach out to me or reach out to Mike, and we will definitely incorporate it into the structure of these spaces, and to make sure that that the ideas are heard and that this debate continues. And lastly, I'd like to say we have something beautiful here in this ecosystem. Let's continue to grow it and protect it. I must say again, thanks everyone. I think without you, these spaces would simply not be what it is. So thanks everyone. Have a great week ahead and God bless. Bye for now.